They had never seen a stomach so big in the whole history of the village. It rose in front of Adiz like a huge round calabash, tight and shiny, as if the skin would tear at any moment. The old women stood back, their hands on their heads. Children peeped from behind their mothers' wrappers. Even the goats had gone quiet. "She will burst, she will burst before sunset," one of the market women whispered. The village healer, Baba Kofi, pressed his ear gently against Adiz's swollen stomach. His gray eyebrows drew together. Inside, something shifted and rolled like a storm cloud. Adiz clenched her teeth and grabbed the mat, sweat running down her face. "Make it stop," she cried. "Please make it stop." Her father, Obi, knelt at her side. "My child, what did you do? Who did you offend?" His voice shook. "Tell us the truth. Your stomach kept growing and growing and nobody knew why. Now see where we are." Adiz tried to speak, but another sharp movement tore through her belly. The crowd gasped. The skin of her stomach seemed to stretch even more, so tight it looked like one small touch could make it explode. Baba Kofi stepped back, fear in his old eyes. "If we do not find the right cure before the last drum beats tonight," he said slowly, "this girl's stomach will burst, and it will not only be her. The whole village may suffer." Just then, a strange cracking sound came from deep inside Adiz's stomach, like something trying to break free. Before we continue, please like and subscribe and let us know where you're watching from. Long before Adiz's stomach began to grow, life in Umuaka village moved like a gentle river. Every morning, the rooster crowed before the sun rose. Women tied wrappers around their waists and went to the stream with clay pots on their heads. Men carried hoes over their shoulders and walked to the farms. Children ran around, laughing, chasing each other between mud huts and mango trees. The air always smelled of smoke from cooking fires and fresh cassava being roasted. Palm trees waved above the village like tall guards. At night, the drums from the village square called people together, and the moon shone on their happy faces. Umuaka was known for three things: its sweet yams, its bright festivals, and its people who helped one another. If someone's roof fell, the neighbors came and rebuilt it. If a child was sick, mothers took turns sitting by the bedside. No one went hungry if another person had food. But Umuaka was also known for one more thing. Everyone in the village said, "Pride does not grow here. We cut it from the root." The elders always warned the children. "A proud person is like a pot on a weak fire," they would say. "One day it will crack." The children listened and nodded. Well, most of them. Adiz was different. She was the only child of Obi the palm wine tapper and Maman Kem, the woman whose akara balls were the softest in the whole market. Adiz was beautiful. Her skin glowed like ripe pawpaw, and her eyes were big and bright. When she walked, her head was always high, and her wrapper never touched the dust. From when she was small, people praised her. "Look at Adiz's hair. So long. See how she speaks. Her tongue is sweet like honey. This girl will marry a prince one day." At first, Adiz smiled shyly and hid behind her mother. But as she grew older, the shy smile turned into a proud smirk. She began to believe every word. She believed she was better than everyone else. When the other girls swept the compound, Adiz would fold her arms. "I cannot sweep," she would say. "My hands are too soft for that. I am not like you." When they went to fetch water, she walked behind them slowly, swinging her empty hand. "Careful," she would call out. "Do not splash me. Do you think this wrapper is cheap?" The other girls began to avoid her. They stopped calling her to play Su or Ten. They shared jokes and left her out. Still, Adiz did not care. "I do not need them," she muttered. "They are all beneath me." One sunny afternoon, Hawa, one of the younger girls, slipped on a stone near the stream. Her pot fell and broke, and water spilled everywhere. Hawa sat on the ground and began to cry. Adiz watched from a short distance with her own empty pot. She laughed. "Look at you," she said loudly. "You cannot even carry a pot of water. Are your legs made of yam flour?" The other girls turned to her, shocked. "Adiz, stop that. one of them said. Help her up. But Adiz only rolled her eyes. She can help herself. Let her learn how to walk properly. Not everyone is like me. Hawa wiped her tears with the back of her hand. Why are you so wicked, Adiz? She whispered. You were not always like this. Go and cry to your mother, Adiz replied, turning away. What Adiz did not know was that at that very moment, an old woman was sitting under a nearby palm tree, watching everything. The woman's back was bent with age, and her wrapper was faded. She held a walking stick and had a small woven basket beside her. Most children did not even notice her, because she sat so quietly, like a piece of the tree itself. But her eyes saw everything. Her name was Mama Igioma, and the elders said she was older than the oldest story. Some people whispered that she knew secrets from the spirit world. Some said her words could become blessings or curses. As Hawa cried and gathered her broken pot, Mama Igioma stood up slowly and walked towards the girls. She rested her hand on Hawa's shoulder. Uni, stop crying. It is only a pot. Pots break, but good hearts do not. Then she lifted her head and looked straight at Adiz. Adiz, she said softly. Adiz turned slightly surprised. Mama Igioma, good afternoon, she said. But even her greeting carried pride. Did you call me? Yes, the old woman replied. I have watched you for many days. Your beauty is like a bright lamp, but your heart is becoming dark. Pride is growing in you like a weed. Adiz frowned. Everyone praises me, she said. Is it my fault that I am the best at everything? Is it wrong to know my worth? Mama Igioma's eyes did not blink. Knowing your worth is not wrong, child. But when you step on others to feel tall, you are no longer standing. You are climbing a pile of broken hearts. That is pride. Adiz folded her arms. I do not step on anyone. They are only jealous. Look at Hawa there. She cannot even carry water without falling. The old woman sighed, a long, tired sound. Listen to me, Adiz, she said. If you do not bend now, life will bend you. Pride grows and grows until it finds a way to punish its owner. One day, something will rise inside you that you cannot hide, and then everyone will see what pride has done. Adiz laughed, but there was a small shiver in her chest. Nothing can happen to me, she said. I am Adiz. Even the boys in the next village talk about me. Mama Igioma's face became very serious. She lifted her walking stick, drew a small circle in the sand, and spoke in a voice that felt heavy in the air. Since you say nothing can touch you, she said slowly, may your lesson come from inside you. May what grows in your heart show itself in your body, until you learn to bow. The wind around them seemed to pause. The other girls looked at one another in fear. Mama Igioma, please, one whispered. Do not curse her. But the old woman only turned away. Adiz forced a smile and shook her head as if she did not care. Yet, as she lifted her pot to go home, she felt a strange, tiny twist deep inside her stomach, like a small rope quietly pulling from within. For a while, life in Umuoka went on as usual. The sun still rose over the tall palm trees. The drums still called the people to the square at night. Women still laughed as they washed clothes in the stream. To anyone looking from outside, nothing had changed. Only Adiz knew that something was not right. Every morning when she woke up, she felt a small pull in her stomach. It was not very painful at first, just uncomfortable, like a little stone sitting where it should not be. She told herself it was nothing. It is only hunger, she said loudly as she tied her wrapper. Mama, hurry with the food. Your daughter is starving. Mama Nkem smiled and pushed a plate of steaming yam and vegetable stew towards her. Eat, my beautiful Adiz, she said. You need strength. Adiz ate fast, trying to ignore the strange feeling. But when she finished, the heaviness in her stomach grew. She pressed her palm against it and frowned. Maybe you ate too quickly, Mama Nkem said. Next time, chew slowly. Adiz nodded and tried to act normal. She did not want anyone to think something was wrong with her. Proud people hate to look weak. Days turned into weeks. The small pull in her stomach became a tightness, and the tightness became a slow, steady push. Her stomach began to round out, just a little at first. She started tying her wrapper higher and tighter, hoping no one would notice. At the stream, she stood apart from the other girls. When they bent to fill their pots, she stayed straight. When they played and splashed water on each other, she moved away. "Why are you standing like a tree?" one girl asked. "Come and play." Adise forced a laugh. "I do not want to wet my wrapper," she said quickly. "You girls like rough play. I am too fine for that." But really, she was afraid that if she bent too low, someone would see the new roundness of her belly. Still whispers began. "Have you seen Adise lately?" one girl said to another as they walked home. "Her stomach looks different. Maybe she is just eating too much akara," another replied, giggling. Others were not so kind. "What if she is carrying a baby?" a boy muttered to his friend. "Maybe that is why she thinks she is better than us. She started early." They laughed, but the laughter was sharp. Rumors move faster than the wind. Soon even the market women were talking. "I saw Obi's daughter yesterday," one woman said, counting her cowries. "Her stomach is growing. Did you see it?" "Ah," another woman replied, eyes wide. "If she is pregnant outside marriage, Obi's head will never rise again." When Mom and Kem heard such talk, her chest tightened. "My Adise cannot do such a thing," she told herself. "People are wicked with their tongues." Still, she began to watch her daughter more carefully. One evening, as the sky turned orange and purple, Obi came home from the palm forest, his shirt smelling of fresh wine. He found Adise sitting alone outside, holding her middle. "Adise," he called. "Come inside. Why are you sitting in the dark like a stranger?" She stood up slowly, her wrapper shifting. In the soft light, Obi's eyes narrowed. For the first time he really looked at her stomach. "Adise," he said again more slowly. "Come closer." She swallowed and stepped forward. He placed his big rough hand gently on her belly. Under his palm, he felt a firm roundness where there should not be. His heart began to pound. "Adise," he whispered, his voice shaking. "What is this?" I don't know, Papa," she said. For the first time in a long while, her proud voice sounded small. "It just started growing. I did nothing. I swear." Mom and Kem, who had been pounding pepper inside, rushed out when she heard them. "What is happening?" Be moved aside. When Mom and Kem saw the shape of her daughter's stomach, she dropped the wooden pestle. It hit the ground with a loud thud. "Chinik," she cried. "My child, what have you done? Tell me the truth." Tears filled Adise's eyes. "I did nothing, Mama," she repeated. "I only feel something pulling and pushing inside. I am scared." Obi's face was hard, but his eyes were full of pain. "If you are lying, the gods will judge you," he said. "But if you are telling the truth, then this is something else." That night, no one in their family slept well. By the next moon, the change could no longer be hidden. Adise's stomach was now as round as a big calabash. It pushed against her wrapper and made it hard for her to walk fast. She breathing more heavily when she climbed small hills. Children pointed at her in the village square. "Look at her. Her stomach is too big. Is she going to have twins?" Some even ran away afraid. But it was during the New Yam festival that things truly broke. The whole village had gathered in the square. Drums beat fast. Women wore bright wrappers. Men danced with hoes on their shoulders. Children jumped in circles, their laughter rising like birds. Adise, who always loved festivals, refused to stay at home. "I will not hide," she said, lifting her chin, though worry was in her eyes. "I am Adise. Let them look." She wrapped herself in her finest cloth, tying it as carefully as she could to cover her belly, and went to the square. At first, she stood at the edge, watching others dance. But when some boys began to laugh and point at her, pride burned in her chest. "I will show them," she thought. "No one dances better than me." She stepped into the center of the circle as the drums grew louder. Her feet moved to the rhythm. Her hips swayed. Her hands cut through the air. For a few moments, she forgot about her stomach and remembered only the joy of dancing and the old taste of praise. The crowd began to cheer. Ah! Adise is dancing. See her steps. Pride lit up her face again. She spun faster, clapped harder, kicked higher. Then it happened. A sharp pain shot through her belly like lightning. She gasped and stumbled. The tight knot inside her twisted, hard and angry. With a loud rip, her wrapper tore at the side. The whole village fell silent. There, right in the middle of the circle, her bare, swollen stomach stood out like a giant drum. The skin was stretched shiny and tight. As everyone watched, something inside rolled and pushed, making the skin rise and fall in strange waves. A little child screamed. Someone's calabash dropped and broke. "It's not a baby," one old woman whispered. "No child moves like that." "Is it a curse?" another man said, stepping back. Where the drums had been loud, now there was only the sound of heavy breathing and frightened whispers. Then from the back of the crowd a voice rose, a deep, familiar voice. "Bring her to me," said Baba Kofi, the village healer. "We must know what spirit is living in that stomach. If we do not find the truth soon, this thing may not stop growing, and it may not only destroy her." He looked straight at Adise, and his next words seemed to twist the air itself. "It may destroy us all." Everyone turned to stare at Adise, whose stomach throbbed and shifted as if something inside was trying to break free. The morning after the festival was strangely quiet. No drums, no laughter, no children chasing each other between the huts. Only low voices and careful footsteps, as if the whole village was afraid to speak too loudly. Adise sat on a mat in front of Baba Kofi's hut. The healer's compound was at the edge of Umuaka, close to the tall iroko tree. His small house smelled of herbs and smoke. Calabashes of different sizes hung from the roof, and bundles of dried leaves lay in neat rows on the walls. Adise's stomach lay heavy on her lap like a big round pot. It had grown again in the night. Her wrapper could barely tie around it now. Every breath she took felt like she was lifting something very heavy inside her. She looked around and saw villagers standing at a distance, pretending to do other things, but their eyes kept returning to her. "They are all looking at me," she muttered, shame burning her cheeks. "As if I am a strange animal." Her mother sat close, eyes red from crying. Her father stood behind them, arms crossed, his face harder than she had ever seen it. Baba Kofi came out of his hut slowly, leaning on his staff. His gray hair was tied back with a strip of cloth. He looked at Adise's stomach and his lips tightened. "We will start with what we know," he said. "Sometimes a sickness comes from the body. Sometimes it comes from the spirit. Sometimes it comes from the heart." He knelt beside Adise and placed his ear on her swollen belly again. Inside, something shifted and thumped, as if answering him. He sat back and sighed. "This is not a child," he said. "It is not a normal sickness. Something is growing here that feeds on pride, on fear, on shame." Adise swallowed. Will I die?" she whispered. Baba Kofi looked at her for a long moment. "Not if you listen," he said. "Not if you are ready to do what must be done." Her father stepped forward. "Old man," Obi said, voice shaking with anger and fear, "I brought my only child to you. If this thing kills her, I will have no one. Tell us what to do." Baba Kofi nodded. "First, I must know how it began," he said. "Adise, when did you first feel something in your stomach? Did you offend anyone? Eat anything strange? Go anywhere forbidden?" Adise lowered her eyes. A picture flashed in her mind. Hawa crying by the stream, Mama Igioma's sharp, sad eyes, the walking stick drawing a circle in the sand. "If you do not bend now, life will bend you." Her throat felt dry. She started, then stopped. "Speak," Be snap. "This is not the time for secrets." Adise took a deep breath. "It started after the day at the stream," she said slowly. I laughed at Hawa when her pot broke. Mama Igioma was watching. She warned me about my pride. She said if I did not bend, life would bend me. Then she said that what was in my heart would grow in my body. Tears filled her eyes. That night, I felt the first pull in my stomach. The villagers around them began to murmur. A curse. She offended the old woman. I told my children to greet elders well. Baba Kofi raised his hand, and the murmurs died down. This is not just a curse, he said. It is a lesson given power. The words of someone like Mama Igioma are not small. They carry weight in this world and the next. He looked at Adiz. You have been walking with pride for a long time, child. Now the pride is walking with you. Inside you. Adiz burst into tears. I am sorry, she cried. I did not know it would be like this. I only wanted people to praise me. I did not want to hurt anyone. Her mother wiped her eyes with the edge of her wrapper. Please, Baba Kofi, she begged. Help my daughter. I do not care how proud she has been. She is still my child. The old healer stared at Adiz's face for a long moment, then nodded. There is a way, he said. But it is not a simple way. You cannot drink one herb and sleep it off. This kind of sickness must be answered with the same strength it used to grow. What does that mean? Be asked. It grew from pride, Baba Kofi replied. It must be shrunk with humility. He stood up and pointed his staff toward the forest beyond the village. Adiz must go on a journey. Adiz's tears slowed. Journey, she repeated weakly. Yes, he said. To 3 places. First, to the stream where you laughed at Hawa. Then to the square where you used your dancing to feed your pride. And finally, to the hill of the old Irako tree, where Mama Igioma sometimes sits. He looked around at the villagers. At each place, she must perform an act of true humility, not the fake kind. She must lower herself, ask for forgiveness and serve others. Only then can we take her to the sacred grove, where the spirits of healing may agree to touch her stomach. The villagers exchanged nervous glances. What if she cannot do it? Someone asked. Then this thing will keep growing, Baba Kofi said simply. Adiz felt a cold fear spread through her. The idea of walking through the village, with everyone staring at her giant stomach, while she begged for forgiveness, tasted bitter in her mouth. I cannot, she whispered. They already laugh at me. Baba Kofi's eyes hardened. If you hold on to your pride now, he said, you will not live to worry about laughter later. Pride has brought you here. Only humility will take you back. Her father knelt in front of her and took her hands. My daughter, he said, voice thick, I would carry this thing for you if I could. But I cannot. You must fight it yourself. Do this, Adiz. Live. Her mother bent her head, sobbing quietly. Please, Adiz, she said. Do whatever they say. Adiz looked from her father to her mother, then down at her huge stomach. It shifted under her skin, as if something inside was listening and waiting. She remembered all the times she had laughed at others, pushed them away, refused to help. She remembered Mama Igioma's last words. May what grows in your heart show itself in your body, until you learn to bow. Slowly she nodded. I will do it, she said. I will go. Baba Kofi's face softened for the first time that day. Good, he said. You will not go alone. 2 people must walk with you to help you when you are weak and to witness your change. Who will go? To her surprise, a small hand rose from the crowd. I will go, said Hawa, the very girl Adiz had mocked at the stream. Her voice shook, but she stepped forward anyway. The crowd murmured again. Then another voice spoke up. And I will go, said a tall boy named Chaik, who had once asked Adiz to dance and she had laughed in his face. Let me see if the proud peacock can walk like a simple chicken. Some people laughed nervously. Adiz's cheeks burned, but she said nothing. Then it is settled, Baba Kofi said. You leave at once. The more you delay, the more that thing inside you grows. He lifted his staff and touched Adiz's forehead gently. May your steps be guided. May your heart be softened. May you return lighter than you are now. Adiz struggled to her feet, holding her huge belly with both hands. Every movement was slow and painful. Hawa came to her side and took her arm without a word. Chaik stood on her other side, his face half teasing, half worried. They began to walk through the village, heading first toward the stream. People came out of their huts to watch them pass. Some made signs to ward off evil. Some looked with pity. Some whispered loudly on purpose so Adiz could hear. See her now. Pride has made her round like a drum. Let our children learn from this. Adiz's eyes stung with tears, but she kept moving, one slow step after another. As they drew closer to the stream, the air became cooler. The sound of rushing water filled their ears. Adiz felt the knot in her stomach tighten, as if the thing inside her knew where they were going. Hawa squeezed her arm. We are almost there, she said softly. They stepped out from the trees, and the stream came into view, shining gentle, the same place where everything had begun. Adiz took a deep breath and moved forward. But just as her foot touched the wet sand by the water's edge, a violent spasm tore through her stomach. She screamed and doubled over, clutching herself. Her belly swelled even bigger before their eyes, rising like a balloon filled with angry wind, the skin stretching so tight that Chaik stumbled back in fear. Ha! Hawa, look. Her stomach, it's growing again, Chaik cried. And for a terrible moment, with the rushing water beside them and the forest closing in around them, it looked as if Adiz's stomach was going to split open right there at the stream. For a long moment, it felt like the world was holding its breath. Adiz bent over, screaming, her hands pressed hard against her swollen stomach. It pushed out and up, rounder and tighter, as if something wanted to tear its way out. Hawa grabbed her shoulders. Chaik stumbled back, eyes wide with fear. Adiz! Hawa cried. Breathe. Please breathe. Adiz sucked in air in short, sharp gasps. Tears ran down her face. The pain was hot and deep, like fire rolling inside her belly. For a heartbeat, she truly believed it would burst. Then slowly the pain began to slide down. The swelling stopped growing. Her stomach remained huge, but it did not split. The tightness eased just enough for her to stand, shaking. Hawa wiped her face with shaking hands. Thank God, she whispered. I thought. Chaik swallowed hard and walked closer again, trying to hide how scared he had been. You are still in one piece, he said, forcing a weak smile. Maybe this thing also fears water. Adiz tried to laugh, but it came out like a sob. I don't know how much more I can take, she whispered. Hawa pointed to the clear stream flowing beside them. We are here now, she said gently. This is the place where it started. Remember what Baba Kofi said. You must do something humble here. Something true. Not for show. Adiz stared at the water. Memories rushed back. Hawa crying on the ground, her broken pot, Adiz's cruel laughter. The way she had walked away, feeling big and important. Now she felt big in a very different way, and it was heavy and painful. What can I do? Adiz asked quietly. Even if I say sorry, will that change anything? Look at me. She touched her hard belly. This thing is already too big. Sorry is not small, Hawa replied. Not if you mean it. She glanced at the smooth stones by the water and the path where children often slipped. Start there. Start with me. Hawa knelt slowly on the wet sand, her wrapper soaking up the cool water. That day, she said, looking up at Adiz, I fell here. You laughed. You did not help me. She held out her hand. Now help me stand. Let this time be different. Adiz's heart twisted. In the past, she would have hated kneeling. She liked standing tall, looking down at others. But now she lowered herself. Her huge stomach made it hard. She sank to her knees, the sand cold and sticky beneath her. Carefully, she took Hawa's hand and helped her up. I am sorry, Hawa, she said, her voice shaking. Not only for that day, but for all the days I acted as if I was better than you. I forgot we fetch from the same stream. Hawa's eyes filled with tears, but she smiled. I forgive you, she said simply. As their hands touched, a strange thing happened. The thing inside Adi's stomach gave a long, slow roll, not angry this time but almost like a sigh. The tightness loosened just a little. Her belly did not become small, but it felt a tiny bit lighter, as if one small stone had been removed from a big basket. Adiz blinked in surprise. Did you feel that? She asked. Chaik frowned. Feel what? My stomach, Adiz whispered. It changed. Just a little. Like it was listening. Hawa nodded. Then we are on the right path, she said. But this cannot be all. You did not only hurt me with words. You walked around this village as if no one else mattered. Show the stream that you have changed. She pointed to the pile of clay pots stacked under a tree, some old, some new. Travelers left them there to use and share. You mocked me for breaking my pot, Hawa continued softly. What if you help others carry theirs now? Not once, many times. Carry water not as a queen, but as a servant. Adiz stared at the pots, then at her big stomach. How can I carry anything like this? She asked. I can barely carry myself. Chaik raised an eyebrow. You used to say your hands were too soft to work, he reminded her. Maybe today they will be strong enough. For a moment, pride almost rose again in Adiz's chest. Then she remembered the pain, the fear on her parents' faces, the way children had screamed at the sight of her belly. She stood slowly, walked to the tree and picked up a pot. It felt heavier than she remembered, or maybe she was just weaker now. She filled it with water from the stream, then carried it up the small hill to the path that led back to the village. A woman passing by stared in shock. Adiz. Carrying water. Yes, Mama, Adiz panted. Can I put this in your compound for you? The woman hesitated, then nodded. Yes, my child, she said slowly. Thank you. Adiz carried another pot. And another. Her back ached. Her arms burned. Her huge stomach dragged her down, making each step feel like walking through thick mud. Several times she almost fell, but Hawa and Chaik stayed close, ready to catch the pot if she slipped. Villagers going to and from the stream stopped to watch. Is that Adiz? The proud girl. Carrying pots like a servant. Wonders shall never end. Some laughed in disbelief. Others watched with respect growing quietly in their eyes. With each pot she carried, the thing in her stomach rolled less angrily. The tightness loosened just a little more. By the time the sun climbed high above the trees, a small space of comfort had opened inside her body, like a window letting in fresh air. When she finally sank down on the sand again, chest heaving, Hawa knelt beside her. You did well, Hawa said. Before you would not even help me stand. Now you have helped people you didn't even know. Adiz looked at her, sweat shining on her forehead. I did not know saying, I am sorry could be so heavy, she said with a weak smile. It is heavy, Chaik replied. But lighter than pride. They rested for a while under a tree. The leaves whispered above them. The stream flowed by, calm and clear, as if it too was pleased. After some time, Chaik stood up and brushed the sand from his legs. We cannot stay here, he said. Baba Kofi said there are 3 places. We have finished the first. The next is the square. Adiz's small smile disappeared. The square, she repeated. The place where I danced and showed off. And where everyone saw your stomach, Chaik added, not unkindly this time. The place where your pride was highest, and your shame was deepest. Adiz's fingers curled into the sand. Just thinking about the square made her chest hurt. She remembered the people cheering her dance, then gasping at her torn wrapper and swollen belly. She remembered the laughter that had followed her home, sharp as broken glass. I don't want to go there, she whispered. Hawa touched her shoulder. You went there to grow your pride, she said gently. Now you must go there to break it. Adiz looked at her friends, then down at her still huge stomach. It was a little lighter, yes, but still too big, still too strange. She knew she could not stop halfway. Fine, she said at last, breathing out slowly. Let us go. They left the stream and walked along the narrow path toward the heart of the village. The sun was lower now, painting the sky with gold. Shadows from the trees stretched long across the red earth. As they neared the square, they heard voices before they saw anyone. People were talking loudly, excitedly. It sounded like a small crowd had gathered. Chike frowned. Why are there so many people in the square at this time, he wondered. There is no festival today. They stepped into the open space and stopped. In the middle of the square, a short, round man in bright clothes was standing on a wooden stool. He wore a tall, funny hat and had shells tied to his ankles that jingled when he moved. His face was painted with white lines, and a wide grin stretched across his lips. Around him, children clapped and laughed. Even some adults stood watching. "Come one, come all," the man cried in a loud, playful voice. "I, Nkem the great trickster, have come to make you laugh, to test your hearts, and to make the proud dance like chickens." The crowd roared with laughter. Adiz felt a chill run down her spine. "The trickster," Hawa whispered. "My mother said he travels from village to village, playing games and revealing people's secrets." As if he had heard them, Nkem spun around on his stool and pointed straight at Adiz. "Ah!" he shouted happily. "Look who has come back to my stage. The girl with the big stomach and the bigger pride." The crowd parted, clearing a wide path. All eyes turned to Adiz. Her heart began to pound. Her fingers trembled. Her stomach gave a nervous roll. Nkem hopped down from his stool and walked toward her, bells on his ankles ringing with each step. His grin grew even wider. "You came to my square once to show off your fine dancing," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Today, if you truly want to be free, you must dance a different dance. Not of pride, but of shame and truth." Adiz swallowed hard. What do you mean?" she asked. Nkem's eyes sparkled mischievously. "In front of all these people," he declared, stretching his arms wide, "you must kneel in the very center of the square, confess what you have done with that proud mouth of yours, and then dance however I tell you to dance, not like a queen, but like a foolish chicken looking for grain." The crowd burst into shouts and murmurs. "Ah, that is too much. No, let her do it. Let her learn." Chike looked at Adiz, unsure. Hawa squeezed her hand. "You do not have to do everything he says," Chike whispered. "He is a trickster. He likes to play." "But Baba Kofi said I must be truly humble," Adiz replied, her voice barely more than a breath. Maybe this is part of it." Nkem clapped his hands. "Well, proud girl," he called. "Will you kneel in the dust and let your pride die? Or will you run away and let that big stomach of yours keep growing until it bursts for all to see?" All eyes in the square were on Adiz, waiting. Her legs felt weak. Her stomach churned. She lowered her gaze to the ground, then slowly lifted it again to face the circle of staring faces, the trickster's grin, the open space in the center of the square. And then, with her heart racing and her throat dry, she took one shaky step toward the middle of the square. The dust in the square felt cool under Adiz's knees. She knelt in the very middle, where dancers usually showed their best moves during festivals. Now there was no music, only the sound of people breathing and whispering. Her huge stomach sat heavy in her lap, round and tight as a drum. Nkem the trickster stood in front of her, bells on his ankles chiming softly as he shifted his weight. His painted face still wore a wide grin, but his eyes were sharp and serious. "Well then," he said in a loud, playful voice that still somehow carried weight. "The proud peacock has knelt. That is a start. But kneeling is easy. The real work is in the heart." He turned in a slow circle to face the crowd. "People of Umuaka," he shouted. "You all know this girl. You have praised her beauty. You have laughed at her too. You watched her pride grow, and you watched her stomach grow. Today she must speak. Let us hear the truth from her own mouth." He pointed at Adiz like a drum major starting a song. "Tell them who you have mocked," he said. "Tell them what you have done with your proud tongue." Adiz felt her throat tighten. The eyes of the whole village burned into her skin. She could see the faces. Children, elders, women from the stream, boys she had ignored, men from the farms. Her stomach twisted hard, as if warning her. If you keep quiet now, it seemed to say, I will grow again. Adiz swallowed. Her voice came out weak. She tried again. I have been proud, she said louder this time. I thought I was better than everyone else because people praised me. A few people shifted, listening. I laughed at Hawa when she fell by the stream, she continued. I refused to help her. I called her weak. She turned her head a little, searching the crowd until she saw Hawa's small face. I am sorry, Hawa, she said. Hawa nodded, eyes shining. Adiz took a shaky breath. I laughed at boys who asked me to dance, she said. I said they were not good enough. I used my beauty to make others feel small. Her eyes found Chaik. I am sorry, Chaik. Chaik scratched his head, not sure what to say. All right, he muttered, embarrassed. Adiz's voice grew stronger, even as tears rolled down her cheeks. I said my hands were too soft for work. I made other girls sweep while I watched. I did not greet some elders because I thought they were too old, too poor to matter. I pushed people away so I could feel tall. The square was very quiet now. I forgot, she finished in a whisper, that a tree is only tall because its roots drink the same ground as every other tree. I forgot that I am nothing without my people. She bowed her head until her forehead touched the dust. I am sorry, she said again, but this time it came from very deep inside. For a long moment nothing moved. The wind seemed to pause. Even the birds on the roofs fell silent. Then, deep in Adiz's stomach, something shifted. It did not hurt like before. Felt different. As if whatever was inside had stopped fighting and was listening closely. The tightness loosened more than it had at the stream. The huge round belly did not suddenly become small, but it drew back just a little, as if someone had let out a tiny bit of air. Gasps rose from the crowd. Did you see that? Her stomach moved. It shrank. Even if it's small, it shrank. Adiz lifted her head in surprise. She placed both hands on her belly. It was still big and heavy, but she could tell the difference. Nkem watched her with narrowed eyes, his grin curling into something softer. Good, he said quietly, so only those nearby could hear. Then louder, in his usual dramatic voice. But we are not done. Are we, my friends? The children shouted. No. Nkem clapped his hands. Now comes the chicken dance, he cried. Not for my fun, not this time, but for her freedom. He leaned close to Adiz. You used your dance to lift yourself above others, he said in a low tone. Now use it to lower yourself below them. He stepped back and began to beat a small talking drum slung at his side. Its voice was high and playful. Stand up, he commanded. If your stomach allows it. Slowly, Adiz pushed herself to her feet. The weight of her belly pulled her forward, but she steadied herself. The crowd watched, eyes wide. Now, Nkem shouted, scratch the ground like a chicken. Flap your arms, poke your head, look as silly as you can. And you, he pointed at the crowd, do not laugh with wicked hearts. Laugh with love or not at all. Drumbeats filled the air. Adiz's face burned. If this had been before, she would have run away rather than let anyone see her look foolish. But now she remembered Baba Kofi's words. Pride has brought you here. Only humility will take you back. She bent her knees and scratched her fingers along the dust like claws. She flapped her arms clumsily. She bobbed her head forward and back like a chicken pecking grain. The bells on Kem's ankles rang. The drum sang. Children giggled, but not all of them. Some watched with serious faces, as if they understood that this was not just a joke. At first, Adiz's movements were stiff and awkward. Her stomach wobbled with every step. A few people snorted with laughter. She heard one whisper, "So this is the girl who thought she was a queen." Her cheeks grew hotter. Then she thought of her mother crying at Baba Kofi's hut. She thought of her father's rough hand on her belly. She thought of the way her stomach had kept growing and growing while nobody knew why, until some people had whispered that it would burst and bring trouble to them all. If dancing like a foolish chicken could save them, could save her, then what was pride worth? Let go. Her arms flapped higher. She stamped her feet harder. She bobbed her head and made silly cluck-cluck sounds that sent the smallest children into fits of laughter. Her huge stomach bounced, but she did not hide it. She let everyone see. Some of the women began to laugh, but there was kindness in their eyes now. Few boys copied her chicken steps. Even a serious old man at the back cracked a small smile. As they laughed, something strange happened again. Inside Adi's belly, the heavy ball of pain and pride shuddered. It felt as if it was breaking into smaller pieces. The tight, choking pressure eased even more. Her breathing became a little easier. Her wrapper did not feel quite as ready to burst. She slowed and stopped, sweating and panting. Nkem stopped drumming and tilted his head, watching her. "Look at her stomach now," he said quietly. The villagers stared. "It's still big," someone said. "Yes," replied another, "but not as big as this morning. I swear it has gone down again." Adiz ran her hands over the curve of her belly. It was true. It was still large, still strange, but it no longer felt like a swollen drum about to explode. It felt like a heavy load that was finally being taken down, one stick at a time. Nkem stepped close and tapped her forehead lightly with one finger. "Listen well, Adiz," he said in a serious voice. "This thing in your stomach is not just your pride. It is the pride of others too. Each time you hurt someone and refused to say sorry, a piece of their pain went inside you. Each time someone praised you and you lifted your nose at them, their small anger joined the weight." He turned to the crowd. "All of you helped feed this thing," he said. "You praised her beauty and forgot to praise her kindness. You laughed when she mocked others, but no one pulled her ear. Pride grows not only in one person, but in everyone who keeps quiet." The villagers shifted uneasily. "So if this stomach bursts," Nkem continued, "it will not be only her shame. All that hidden hurt, all that silent anger, all that proud air will spill out over Umuaka like smoke. That is why the spirits allowed it to grow so large, to show you what is inside your hearts." A cold fear moved through the square. Adiz stared at Nkem, her mouth slightly open. "So it is not only me?" she asked. "You began it," Nkem said gently. "But others watered it. Now you are the one carrying it for all of them. That is why your journey matters." He stepped back and raised his hands. "The stream has seen your first step," he said. "The square has seen your shame and your courage. There is one place left." "The Irako Hill," Hawa whispered, her eyes big. Kem nodded. "There, the one who spoke the first heavy words over you waits," he said. "Mama Igioma. Only she can help finish what she started. Only she can open the last knot in your belly, if you have truly changed." He pointed toward the tall trees at the edge of the village, where the path curved up into the hill. "Go," he said simply. "The sun is already thinking about resting. If you do not reach her before the first stars wake up, the thing in your stomach may grow wild again. And next time, it may not stop before it bursts." A shiver swept through Adiz. Hawa hurried to her side. Chaik stepped up on her other flank. The crowd parted silently to let them pass this time. Some people even bowed their heads as she went by. "Adiz," an old woman called softly, "may your steps be strong." "Adiz," a man added, "forgive us too for laughing when we should have warned you." Adiz nodded, too moved to speak. Her stomach gave one more gentle roll, like a warning and a promise. They left the square and began the long walk toward the Irako Hill. The sky was turning orange and purple again. The air grew cooler as they neared the tall trees. But just as the first shadow of the hill fell over them and the forest sounds grew louder, a fierce, sudden cramp tore through Adiz's belly, twice as strong as any before. She cried out and stumbled, clutching herself. Her stomach swelled sharply, straining against her wrapper once more, as if angry at being forced to shrink. And for the second time that day, it looked frighteningly close to bursting just as they reached the edge of the darkening forest. The pain hit Adiz so hard that her legs gave way. She fell to her knees at the edge of the forest, both hands clutching her swollen stomach. It pushed out again, bigger, tighter, shining with sweat in the fading light. She could feel every stretch of skin, every angry twist inside. Adiz! Hawa cried, dropping beside her. Talk to me. Can you hear me? Chaik grabbed a tree trunk to steady himself. It's bigger than before, he whispered. If it grows any more, it will truly burst. Adiz could not answer. Her teeth were clenched. Tears spilled from her eyes. A loud buzzing filled her ears, and for a moment the world blurred. She heard her own voice inside her head, all the proud things she had ever said. I am not like you. My hands are too soft for work. I am better than them. The words twisted around each other like snakes, pulling at her stomach. Breathe, Adiz, please, Hawa begged. You must breathe. In and out. Slowly. Hawa and Chaik each took one of her hands and breathed with her. In and out, in and out. Little by little, the sharp edge of the pain softened. The stomach stopped growing, though it did not go down. It stayed huge, hard and round like a big water drum filled to the top. Adiz blinked away tears. The forest seemed to lean in around them. Tall trees rose on every side, their branches crossing like fingers. Strange bird calls echoed in the distance. The air felt cooler here, heavy and damp. We cannot stop, Chaik said quietly, looking up at the dark path. If we stay here doing nothing, it will grow again. We have to find Mama Igioma. Adiz tried to stand. Her legs shook, but with Hawa on one side and Chaik on the other, she managed to get up. Every step made her stomach bob and throb. They entered the forest. The light from the village faded behind them. Shadows wrapped around their ankles like dark cloth. Dry leaves crunched under their feet. The air smelled of earth and old things. Do you know the way? Hawa whispered. Chaik nodded toward the hill. I came here once with my father to cut firewood, he said. We did not go all the way up, but I remember there is a narrow path. We follow it, and it leads to the big Irako tree where the elders say spirits like to sit. Adiz swallowed. Spirits, she repeated. Do you think they are angry with me too? Chaik did not answer. They walked in silence for a while. A thin path wound between roots and rocks. Sometimes Adiz had to stop and hold her stomach, breathing hard. Hawa would fan her with her hand, and Chaik would wait, lips pressed together. As they climbed higher, the forest sounds grew strange. Leaves rustled even when there was no wind. Twigs snapped where no one was walking. Once, Adiz heard laughter. Not happy laughter but thin and cold, like the sound people make when they enjoy seeing someone suffer. Did you hear that? She whispered. Hawa nodded, eyes wide. Do not look back, she murmured. Just walk. But Adiz did look back. Between the trees she thought she saw shapes. For a second she saw herself as she used to be. Head high, wrapper clean, lips curled in a proud smile. Behind that image she saw other faces. The girls she had mocked, the boys she had laughed at, the elders she had ignored. They were not really there, but in the dim light they looked real enough. You think you are better. Your hands are too soft. You cannot fall like us. The voices were soft, but they cut deep. Adiz squeezed her eyes shut. I am not that person anymore, she whispered. I am trying. I am trying. Her stomach gave a small angry jerk, as if it did not fully believe her. At last, they reached a small flat space on the hill, where the trees opened just enough to see the sky. The sun had almost gone down. The first faint star blinked in the purple blue. We are close, Chaik said. The Irako tree should be just above this place. We can rest for a moment. Adiz sank onto a rock, panting. Sweat soaked her wrapper. Her back hurt. Her neck hurt. Everything hurt. I don't know if I can go any farther, she whispered. My body feels like a calabash that has been filled with stones. Hawa sat beside her. You have already done so much, she said softly. You humbled yourself at the stream. You humbled yourself in the square. Maybe that is enough. Maybe the spirits will see it. But my stomach is still big, Adiz said, voice shaking. Baba Kofi said we must go to 3 places. If I stop now, what if it grows even bigger when we sleep? What if it bursts at night? Then it will not only be my own shame. It will spread over everyone. She pressed her palms hard against the round curve. I am afraid, she whispered. Not just of dying. I am afraid of hurting others again. Chaik leaned his back against a tree and sighed. When we were younger, he said quietly, I used to watch you dance from my father's roof. I wanted to dance like that too. I asked you once to teach me, remember? Adiz nodded slowly, ashamed. I laughed at you, she said. I said your legs were too stiff. Chaik smiled a little. Yes. I went home and tried to copy your steps anyway, but I always felt foolish. His smile faded. I also laughed at you when your wrapper tore in the square. I said you deserved it. He looked at the ground. Maybe I helped fill your stomach too. Hawa nodded. All of us did one way or another, she said. When people praised you too much, we copied them. When you were cruel, we did not stop you. When you fell, we laughed. Now you carry all of it. Adiz listened, feeling both comforted and sad. So I am not the only one to blame, she said slowly. But I am still the one who must carry this load. Yes, Hawa said. Sometimes the one who falls the hardest is the one everyone learns from. Adiz looked up at the darkening sky. What if, she said very quietly, what if my stomach has to burst to save the village? What if that is the only way? What if I am meant to be the one who pays for all of us? Hawa's eyes widened. Don't say that, she said. We are going to find a way to save you. But you heard Nkem, Adiz whispered. This stomach is all our hidden hurt and pride together. Maybe when it breaks, it will clean the air. Chaik shook his head. Or it will poison it, he said. Baba Kofi did not say you must die. He said you must change. That is different. Adiz closed her eyes. Spirits, she whispered into the cool air. If my bursting will save them, I am ready. But if there is another way, please show me. I do not want to die. I want to live better than before. For a while there was no answer. Then, very faintly, from higher up the hill, they heard the sound of a staff tapping on a root. They froze. Another tap. Then a voice, old and strong, floated down through the trees. So, it said, the child who would not bow has finally bent her neck. Hawa jumped to her feet. Mama Igioma, she breathed. Chaik stood up quickly, helping Adiz rise. Together they followed the sound, climbing the last stretch of the hill. The trees opened at the top to reveal the great Irako tree. Its trunk was thick and ancient, its branches spreading wide like a giant umbrella. At its base sat Mama Igioma, leaning on her walking stick, her eyes glowing softly in the dim light. She looked both exactly the same and completely different. Her wrapper was still faded. Her back was still bent. But around her the air felt different, heavy and light at the same time. Strong. You made it, she said simply. Adiz's legs almost gave way. She dropped to her knees before the old woman, her big stomach jutting out between them. Mama Igioma, she whispered, voice breaking. I am sorry. You warned me and I did not listen. Now look at me. She spread her hands across her swollen belly. Please help me. I cannot carry this any longer. Mama Igioma studied her for a long moment. Her eyes saw everything. The sweat, the dirt on Adiz's knees, the tremble in her hands, the fear in her eyes. You went to the stream, she asked. Yes, Mama, Adiz said. I begged Hawa's forgiveness. I carried water for strangers. You came to the square. Yes, Mama. I confessed in front of everyone. I danced like a foolish chicken. They laughed, but I did not run. Mama Igioma nodded slowly. You have done much, she said. But the heaviest pride does not live in the feet or the hands. It lives here. She tapped her chest. And here. She tapped her forehead. Then what must I do? Adiz asked, desperate. I will do anything. Mama Igioma leaned on her stick and stood up. To heal what is in your stomach, she said, you must open what is in your heart. You have told others you are sorry. Now you must tell yourself the truth you fear the most. She pointed to a flat stone at the foot of the irako tree. Lie there, she said quietly. Place your back on the stone and your stomach to the sky. You will be unable to move. Then, in front of your friends and the spirits of this hill, you must speak your deepest shame, the thing you hide even from yourself. If your words are true, the spirits may choose to cut the cord inside you. If they are not, she let the sentence hang. If they are not, Adiz whispered. Then this thing will grow one last time, Mama Igioma said softly. Fast and hard until it bursts. And none of us will be able to stop it. The forest seemed to pull closer around them. The wind picked up, making the leaves whisper overhead. Hawa grabbed Adiz's hand. You don't have to do this, she said, voice shaking. It's too dangerous. Chaik swallowed. If you are not ready, he added, we can go back. Maybe Baba Kofi will find another way. Adiz looked at the stone. She looked at her huge stomach. She felt it shifting inside her, heavy with all the things she had never said. I don't think there is another way, she said softly. I am tired of hiding from myself. She walked slowly to the stone and lowered herself onto it, with Hawa and Chaik helping her. The cold rock pressed into her back. Her swollen belly rose toward the darkening sky, round and helpless like an offering. Mama Igioma lifted her staff. The air grew still. Even the insects seemed to go silent. Now speak, Adiz, the old woman said. Speak the truth you fear the most. Adiz opened her mouth. At that exact moment, a violent force surged inside her stomach, stronger than ever before. The skin stretched tighter and tighter, until tiny lines appeared like cracks on a clay pot. And the sound that came from her belly this time was not a simple rumble, but a loud, sharp crack, like something finally breaking loose from deep within. For a moment, Adiz thought her stomach had finally burst. The sharp crack that came from deep inside her belly echoed against the irako tree and bounced back from the forest around them. Hawa screamed and covered her mouth. Chaik jumped back, eyes wide. Even Mama Igioma's fingers tightened around her walking stick. Adiz felt a burning rush inside, like hot water spilling in every direction. She gasped, waiting to feel her skin tear. But it did not tear. Instead, the pain rose to her chest and pushed up into her throat. A sound burst out of her. Not a scream this time, but a loud, broken sob that seemed to pull her whole heart out with it. She began to cry in a way she had never cried before. Tears poured down her face, soaking her cheeks, running into her ears as she lay on the stone. Her body shook. Her voice cracked into pieces. I'm so afraid, she choked. I am not as strong as I pretend. I am not better than anyone. I was just scared of being small, of being ignored, of not mattering. The words surprised even her. Mama Igioma stepped closer. Keep speaking, she said quietly. This is the truth under your pride. Bring it out. Adiz squeezed her eyes shut. When people praised me, she said, it made me feel like I was somebody. When they stopped, I felt empty. So I acted proud to cover it. If I stepped on others, it made me feel taller. But inside I always feared that if I stopped shining, nobody would love me. Hawa's hand flew to her mouth. Chaik stared at Adiz, his eyes suddenly soft. Adiz's voice shook more. I laughed at Hawa not because she was weak, she cried, but because I was scared that one day I would fall like that too. I refused to work because I was afraid I would not do it well and people would laugh. I insulted boys like Chaik because I was afraid to let anyone close enough to see that I am not perfect. She sucked in air, sobbing. I am not a queen, she whispered. I am just a girl who didn't want to be alone. As the last words left her mouth, the heat in her stomach changed again. Instead of pushing out, it seemed to pull in. The tightness loosened, not in small bits this time, but in a slow, deep way, like a rope finally being untied. Her huge belly began to sink a little, the skin no longer so shiny and stretched. Hawa gasped. It's going down, she whispered. Chike nodded, amazement on his face. More than before, he said. Look. Adiz lifted her head to see. Her stomach was still big, but it was no longer that frightening round ball. It had softened. The heavy hardness had become a heavy softness, like a calabash that had been half emptied. She let her head fall back on the stone, breathing hard. Mama Igioma's eyes glowed with quiet pride, the good kind. You have finally said the real thing, she said. Pride is not only thinking you are better. Sometimes it is fear wearing a crown. You were afraid of being small, so you made others feel smaller. Now that you have seen your own fear, the spirits can see your true heart. She lifted her staff and pointed it at Adiz's stomach. The knot inside her is almost open, she said. But not fully. One cord still holds it tight. Hawa frowned. What cord? She asked. The cord that ties her to her people, Mama Igioma replied. This thing did not grow from her alone. It grew from all of you. Your praise, your silence, your laughter. She has confessed and humbled herself. But have you? The forest went very quiet. Even the wind seemed to stop moving. But the villagers are not here, Chike said. How can they confess? Mama Igioma turned toward the dark path, where the village lay below the hill. The hill hears every sound from Umuoka, she said. If the people speak with true hearts, the spirits of this tree will hear them from here. She looked down at Adiz. Child, she said, this is the last stretch of your journey. You must ask your people for something very hard. Adiz blinked away the last of her tears. What is that? She whispered. You must ask them to admit that they are like you, Mama Igioma said. That they also carry pride. That they also hurt others. That they also fear being small. Her voice softened. If everyone keeps pretending they are clean while only you are dirty, this sickness will stay in your body. But if they share the blame, the weight will leave you and return to where it belongs, spread out, lighter and ready to be healed. Adiz swallowed. But they already laugh at me, she said. Why would they want to share my shame? Hawa stepped forward. Because we love you, she said simply. And because we are tired of pretending we are better. Chike nodded slowly. If we leave all the blame on you, he said, then we learn nothing. Tomorrow it could be someone else's stomach that grows. Or someone's head. Or someone's heart. Mama Igioma gave a small, proud nod. Good, she said. Then here is what must happen. She raised her staff high, and a sudden breeze rushed through the trees, making the leaves dance overhead. At the next drumbeat from the village, she said, you will all walk back down this hill. You, Adiz, must go to the center of the square one last time. There you will lie on the ground just as you lie on this stone, with your stomach to the sky. I will stand beside you. Then you must say these words. I have carried our pride. Who will take back their share? She looked at Hawa and Chike. You two must be the first to answer. You must step forward and speak your own pride aloud. Then others must follow. The more people speak, the lighter her stomach will become. But if no one speaks, the knot will pull tight again. A deep fear fluttered in Adiz's chest. What if they refuse? She asked. What if they stand and stare and say it is my problem? What if they laugh again? Then, Mama Igioma said quietly, this stomach will grow for the last time. And this time it will not stop. They all fell silent. The sky above the hill was now a deep blue. More stars had woken up, blinking down at them. From far away, carried on the night air, came the faint sound of a drum being struck once, twice, 3 times. The evening drum, Hawa breathed. They are calling people to the square. Mama Igioma smiled a small, knowing smile. The spirits are kind, she said. They have given us our chance. She tapped her staff 3 times on the rock where Adiz lay. Rise, child, she said. The heaviest part is before you, but so is your freedom. With Hawa and Chike's help, Adiz slowly sat up. Her stomach was still big, but there was space in her chest now, a space where courage could sit. She slid off the stone and stood, swaying for a moment before she found her balance. The path back to the village looked darker than before, but also clearer somehow, like a road she was finally ready to walk. "Are you sure?" Hawa whispered. "This will show them everything." Dees nodded. "They have already seen my shame," she said softly. "Now they must see my heart." Chaik clenched his fists and lifted his chin. "Then we walk with you till the end," he said. "No matter what happens." Together the four of them, Adiz, Hawa, Chaik and Mama Igioma, began to walk down the hill toward the village square, where the drumbeat was getting louder. But as they neared the edge of the forest, where the first village fires glowed in the distance, the thing inside Adiz's stomach gave one last long warning twist, strong enough to make her stumble. And she knew that if the people of Umuaka chose silence over truth this time, her stomach might really burst before the night was over. By the time they reached the edge of the village, the square was already full. The drum sat in the middle, and men were beating it slowly, calling everyone to gather. Women stood in groups, whispering. Children sat on the ground, their eyes bright with curiosity and fear. Old men and women sat on stools, leaning on their walking sticks. They were waiting. When they saw Adiz step out of the shadows, with her still swollen stomach and shaky steps, a hush fell over the whole square. Beside her walked Hawa and Chaik. Behind them, calm and steady, came Mama Igioma. "The proud girl is back. Look at her stomach. It kept growing and growing. How is she still alive? Maybe tonight it will burst." The words floated through the air like dry leaves. Adiz's heart thumped hard. For a moment, she wanted to turn around and run back into the forest. But Mama Igioma's hand touched her shoulder, firm and warm. "Forward," the old woman said softly. They crossed the square. This time no one laughed. No one pointed. They watched with wide eyes as Adiz moved to the very center, where dancers usually showed their best moves. "Lie down," Mama Igioma told her. Adiz lowered herself to the ground. The dust felt cool under her back. Her big stomach lifted toward the night sky, round and bare for all to see. Stars blinked above her like small, watching eyes. She heard a few people gasp. Mama Igioma stepped beside her and lifted her staff high. "People of Umuaka," she called. Her voice, though old, was strong. "You have seen this girl's shame. You have whispered about her. You have said, 'Her stomach kept growing and nobody knew why. We think it will burst and bring trouble.'" Murmurs moved through the crowd. It was true. They had all said such things. "But listen well," Mama Igioma went on. "This swelling did not come from food or from a secret child. Came from pride. Her pride, yes, but also yours. Each time she stepped on someone and you laughed instead of correcting her, that laughter became a stone in her belly. Each time you praised her beauty and forgot her kindness, that praise filled her up like hot air. Each time you hid your own bad ways and said, 'At least I am not like her,' that lie tied another knot inside her." She pointed her staff at Adiz's belly. "Now she has carried your pride as well as hers," the old woman said. "If you leave all the blame on her, this stomach will burst before dawn, and the shame will spread over this village like smoke. But if you are brave enough to take back your share, her stomach will shrink, and Umuaka will breathe clean again." Silence. The drum beats stopped. Adiz felt fear like a stone in her throat. Her stomach twisted hard, as if reminding her that time was short. She remembered Mama Igioma's words on the hill. "At the square you must say, 'I have carried our pride. Who will take back their share?'" Her voice shook, but she spoke. "People of Umuaka," she cried, staring up at the sky because she could not bear to look at their faces. "My stomach kept growing and nobody knew why. You thought it would burst and destroy us. Now you know it grew from pride. Mine and yours." She took a trembling breath. "I have carried our pride," she said louder. "Who will take back their share?" The words hung in the air. Nothing happened. Her stomach gave a sharp, angry jerk. The skin stretched tighter. A low moan escaped her lips. It felt like it was filling up again fast. Hawa couldn't stand it. She stepped forward, heart pounding, and lifted her small voice. "I will," she said. All eyes turned to her. "I am Hawa," she went on, voice shaking but clear. "I was hurt when Adiz mocked me at the stream. But I also laughed at others sometimes, just to feel better than them. I was proud in my own way. Take back my pride. I will not hide behind her shame anymore." As she spoke, Adiz felt a small wave of warmth leave her stomach, as if a tiny piece of the heavy load had been lifted and walked away. Chaik stepped forward next. "I will take mine too," he said louder. "I used to praise Adiz only for her dancing and beauty. I laughed when she insulted others. I called her queen, just to enjoy the show. I did not correct her. I also laughed when she fell in the square. My laughter helped fill that stomach. I take my share back." Another bit of tightness left Adiz's belly. Softened a little more. The crowd watched, unsure. Then an old man with a crooked back hobbled forward. "I am not without fault," he said slowly. "I saw this girl walking with pride and said, 'Her parents have spoiled her.' But I never called her to sit and listen. I did not teach her better. My silence was pride too. I take it back." A market woman stepped out of the crowd, tying her wrapper tighter. "I told my children, 'Do not be like Adiz,'" she said. "As if I have no pride in me. I gossiped about her, but I never checked my own heart. That is also pride. I take my share back." One by one, people began to move. A boy stepped out. "I teased others for their torn clothes," he said. "I take it back." A girl. "I refused to play with someone whose father was poor. I take it back." Man. "I beat my son when he made small mistakes but hid my own bigger ones. I take it back." Woman. "I smiled at Adiz's mother and then spoke badly about her behind her back. I take it back." As each person spoke, Adiz felt the weight inside her lessen. It was like watching water slowly drain from a flooded pot. Her stomach sank, bit by bit, the hard roundness softening, the tight skin relaxing. Some people cried as they spoke. Some bowed their heads. Some looked straight at Adiz for the first time with honest eyes, not full of gossip or judgment, but full of shared pain. Finally, even Obi and Mom Kem stepped forward. Obi cleared his throat. "I am her father," he said. "When people praised her, I felt proud and showed her off. I did not always correct her when she bragged. I liked the way people looked at me when they said, 'Your daughter is special.' That was my pride too. I take it back." Mom Kem wiped her tears with the edge of her wrapper. "I also fed it," she said softly. "I called her my golden one, and told her she was better than others. I defended her even when she was wrong. I did not teach her to bend. My pride grew in her. I take it back." With those words, something deep inside Adiz gave a final shudder. Then at last, the rope that had been pulling her stomach tight seemed to snap. The huge tight belly slowly sank down. Not all at once like bursting, but like a big gourd gently emptying. Pain eased. The pressure melted away. Her skin relaxed back toward its normal shape. Gasps and cries filled the square. "Look! It's going down. It's normal again." Adiz lay still, tears spilling from the corners of her eyes. This time not from pain, but from deep relief. Her stomach was no longer a big, scary ball. It was a normal, soft belly again, a little sore, a little stretched, but human. Mama Igioma lowered her staff, her face peaceful. "The spirits have accepted your truth," she said quietly. "The lesson has been learned." She turned to the people of Umuaka. "Remember this night," she said. The proud girl's stomach kept growing, and nobody knew why. You thought it was going to burst and destroy you all. Until she found the courage to face herself, and you found the courage to share the blame. She looked slowly around the square. "Pride is not only in the one who falls," she said. "It is in the eyes that watch and do nothing. It is in the lips that praise the wrong things. It is in the hearts that fear being small. When we admit this together, we make room for healing together." She smiled down at Adiz. "Stand, child," she said. "Not as a queen above others, but as a daughter among them. With Hawa and Chaik's help, Adiz stood up. Her legs still shook, but her eyes were clear. She looked around at her village, at the same faces that had once watched her with envy or laughter. Now she saw them as they truly were. People like her. Weak, strong, afraid, loving, learning. "I am sorry," she said one last time, but there was something new in her voice now. "And I am thankful. You gave me a heavy lesson, but you also helped me carry it away." Hawa slipped her hand into Adiz. "We will remind each other," she said. "Whenever pride starts to grow again." Chaik grinned. "And if your head grows too big," he added, "I will make you do the chicken dance again." Adiz laughed. A real laugh, free and light. Life in Umuaka slowly returned to normal, but the people did not forget what had happened. Parents told the story to their children. How a girl's pride had grown so much that it showed in her stomach, how the whole village had fed it, and how they all had to speak the truth to make it shrink. From then on, when someone started boasting too much, the elders would say, "Careful. Do you want your stomach to start growing too?" Everyone would laugh, but they understood. And Adiz, she still danced. But now, when she danced in the square, she sometimes pulled shy children into the circle and taught them her steps. She still spoke, but now she used her words to lift others up, not push them down. She worked at the stream, carried pots when needed, and was the first to say, "I am sorry," when she was wrong. She learned that true greatness is not in being above others, but in walking beside them. And that was how the proud girl who almost burst became the girl who helped keep her village's heart soft and humble, so that peace and harmony could live in Umuaka once again.